This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football, certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game. And no run back here, so they'll bring it out to the 25. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
A second down pass play there, but it's incomplete. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft of 30 rounds then.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
And that hits at the 6 and carries into the end zone for a touchback. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
So we're through one at the Coliseum. The NFC with the football here to begin the second quarter. Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on first down. How about this? They'll try the option, left side. And now the ball's out, fumble near midfield. And that's picked up by the AFC. And the return comes to a halt right at the 44-yard line. He was having success there holding on to it on the option, but ultimately problems downfield, and it results in a turnover.
Yeah, and this is a tough one because you know you'd prefer to have your quarterback either heading to the sidelines or getting down at the end of the play. But you get
that's into a crowd and intercepted. Picked off by Jalen Ramsey, and they are going to set up shop at the 40-yard line. Good starting field position for them here as they come up 1st and 10 at the 40. They start on the ground here at Sanders to the 43, second down. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons. He coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
On is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on fourth down. Fair catch called for and taken right near the 30-yard line. So over here on the punt, and the NFC will take over first and 10. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And partner, I know so far, and we're still in the first half, but you love this game as a defensive guy. 0-0. We'll see if the offense can get going on this drive.
Well, you know how they talk about music to your ears? How about what it does for your eyes when you watch something like this, right? Where these teams are locked in and going at it. No points going up on the scoreboard. I'm loving it. You're exactly right.
Well, switch over, though, to an offensive mindset for a moment. What do they need to do here to get on track and get some points?
Well, I think a couple of ways. Number one, you pull out something that maybe they haven't seen before. Coaches always talk about unscouted looks. Maybe you give them something that they haven't seen on tape, and now you shock them that way. The second, run your basic playbook, but run it so well that you give your skill position guys a chance to make big plays individually.
Favre. And that is incomplete. Problems on third down so far in this first half. Relatively small sample size, but they're now 0 for 3.
And the average in the league, somewhere around 40% on third down for offenses. So what's the answer to this? Either convert them or don't get to third down in the first place. Get your big chunks of yards on first and second down. That is how you flip field position. That's an absolute bomb of a punt. Downs it inside the 5-yard line. Absolutely ideal.
From that position, you're hoping to get it down inside the 15, inside the 5. Superb. Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Lawrence Taylor. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. Well, it turns out it's not their offense who gets him on the board first, CD. It's the defense coming through right there with a pick 6.
And I know from experience throughout the week when you go against the offense, you're challenging them all the time. You're letting them know, hey, don't worry about scoring this week. We'll take care of it. We'll get a few pick 6s and score ourselves. You're just kidding? But how about what he just did right there? Laid it out for the rest of the game. We scored. Hey, offense, can you keep up with us?
And in hindsight, probably should have taken a knee as he only gets this out to the 16-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And he's not going to go anywhere as they get him down behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of 4 on the first down play.
I have a feeling they'll stay committed to running the football, especially on the early downs. They just haven't had a whole lot of success just yet.
Well, the first play of the drive lost 4. Now they'll look to move it forward here on 2nd and 14. And the running lanes. In this first half as they'll stop him behind the line.
The running lanes have definitely not been there for him here in the first half, and I don't think it's all been his fault. His offensive line hasn't given him much space. A loss results there.
And they're going to take a timeout defensively. So with 4th down coming up, they go ahead and burn it and say we'll see what happens. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Take it in at the 3. And he'll be brought down right on the chalk of the 20. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, Charles, we saw a pretty entertaining first half, close ball game. Remember there toward the end of the second quarter, the opposition scored to take the lead. Now we'll see if these guys can get a score of their own to regain that lead.
Yeah, they want to have that type of a response, don't they? Because they want to find a way to take control of this ball game one more time. Gauntlet's been thrown down. They want to see if they're ready to answer it.
To throw is Brady. And Brady going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked up by the Hall of Famer John Lynn. Going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown. Well, I mean, you get it. They're trying to make something happen here in this third quarter, CD, but I don't think a pick 6 is exactly what they had in mind.
No, not at all, because this offense, they've been stuck all game long. Haven't dented the scoreboard yet, and they're kind of forced to take a few chances here, and that one, it backfired in a big way.
So they throw the pick 6. They'll get another shot at it now as this one's in the air. And Hall not going to bring this one out. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And, Charles, they're certainly still right in this game, but they need that offense to wake up and in a hurry.
Yeah, I like the way you put it. They certainly did seem to sleepwalk a bit in the first half. Now that their defense has done its job, it's their turn now to go out and try to get some points.
6 yards on that last play. Here's 2nd and 4. They stay on the ground with Allen. And they'll stop him after a gain of a couple to the 33. This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. Now a carry for Allen. And he's going to have the first down at about the 38. Give him the 3rd down conversion, 5 yards on the play. So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. Here's Allen. He'll take it past the 40 to the 41, 2nd down. 8 yards to go on 2nd down. Now they'll throw with Brady. Over the middle, he's got Tim Brown. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work this to the 45. Still in search of their first touchdown of the game, but they're on the move. 1st and 10. Now a first carry for their fullback. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be 2nd down. Now a timeout called for by the offense. It's just their first, so 2 remaining as they burn 1 here in this 3rd quarter. Now Allen. And little room to maneuver there. He gets it down about the 39. 5 yards on 1st down, but now just a 1-yard pickup there on 2nd. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden Legacy game, it's back now here on EA Sports. The AFC thus far on 3rd down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. This is 3rd and 4. And he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. Jack Youngblood able to get him down for a loss of 11. And it brings up 4th down. Now Brady got to have this one. And he's brought down. Can't do anything with a football. It's a sack and a turnover on downs. The AFC went for it, and it doesn't work out. And that will force a turnover on downs. On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Up the middle they go with Sanders. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template.
So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible